Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Welcome to Peter and Roughie's Football Show, sponsored by Arnold Clark. It's the 31st of July, 1 day to go, and then football is finally back. Great to have you with us as we get ready for the kick-off to the new season. Don't forget to like, share and follow us on Facebook, and you can subscribe. It's absolutely free on our YouTube channel. Brilliant to be ready for the kick-off to the new season, Roughie.
Yeah, it certainly is. I think it's been a long, long time. Obviously, we're trying to fill the gap during everything that's been going on. I think we've done particularly well, to tell you the truth. There was times when there was nothing happening. There was times when there was too much happening. But no, the real stuff starts now, and it's good to get games at the weekend, and then we can talk about them after that.
Yep, absolutely. Really looking forward to it. Buzzing. Of course, Tam, you'll be making your Hibs TV debut tomorrow as well. And of course, are you nervous?
A little bit. I think it's healthy, a wee bit of nerves. Listen, it's going to be a lot of people tuning in. Obviously, a lot of Hibs supporters. I think they sold over 11,000 season ticket holders, so there'll be a lot of people tuning in, and hopefully it goes smoothly, and hopefully Hibs can get a result, and it's not a 0-0. Hopefully Hibs can get the win.
Yeah, well, just remember, by the way, if it does go pear-shaped, there's still Derry City TV, Colorado Rapids TV as well. There's so many other TV stations that you'll be able to get onto. Now, we've got lots of football to talk about, but let's deal with the elephant in the room. You'll be well aware on social media that one of our teammates has left us. Of course, Barry Ferguson decided he wanted to do radio. Certainly, we couldn't compete with the finances involved, and he goes with our best wishes, because as Tam and Roughie and every one of us will mention on more than a few occasions, he's one of our pals, certainly been my pal for over 30 years. So he goes with our best wishes. We wish him very well in his new venture on radio. And we move on. And I would say to you, the transfer window is still open. Keep it locked here, because we are going to make signings as well. And hopefully you'll like our signings for the new season ahead. We will, as ever, Roughie, year on year since you and I started all those years ago, we just kept signing people and getting bigger and better, and we're Scotland's #1 football show. The figures are there for everyone to see across YouTube and Facebook.
No, it's not the first time in the 7 or 8 years we've been together that staff has moved on. For me, it just means that we're doing something right, and they're coming in and they're learning the trade, and people see what the avenue that we're giving them, and good luck to them when they move on. But that's what happens in football. These things happen. You do have to move on. There's Tam. He's been brought in for the subs bench. You know, and look at we've got him. We've actually got him. We've got him a job at Hibs. You know, that just shows you. You know, you come on the show and you see the standard you've got to set, and you get jobs elsewhere.
Yep, it won't affect our friendship. There's lots of people who've gone, and of course you remain friends. That's the business, as long as there's work out for them. If the last 4 months has taught me anything about life in journalism and broadcasting, is that you want to see people survive, earn a living, and there's room for all of us. So we wish them well. We've got lots to talk about. We've got lots of people who are on our team that I think you're going to enjoy over the course of the season. Thank you to everyone for sticking with us, of course, as well. It does end the possibility of a doubles match at tennis, because there's no point in really mixing with them now for the tennis, to be honest with you. Tam, it looks as if it's a singles match.
I'm sending my racket back. It cost me 40 quid. I'm buzzing.
Absolutely. Yeah, it could be a singles match, Tam. Anyway, apart from anything else, let's crack on, because this is the mother of all seasons. I think we are in for a bumpy ride. It's a case of fasten your seatbelts and get ready for it, because there will be highs and lows. There will be no shortage of controversy, let me tell you. I think this has got the potential to be exciting. I hope the fans flock back in great numbers. Start is next month, but then hopefully we get more and more fans into the grounds, Roughie, God willing. But I also think, Roughie, it has the potential to be one of the most poisonous seasons.
Yeah, I think obviously with everything that's going on, you know, I really do hope that both players and supporters act sensibly as the season goes on. I know that's going to be a hard one as the season goes on, with the tension and everything, the pressure that goes with it. I just hope that for the whole season, it's a great season. for the footballing side. I think there's a lot of other teams in the league have produced good football and good games, and we want to talk it up as much as possible. But you're right, I think the turn of the year is going to be a fantastic run-in for everybody concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to talk about Rangers and Steven Gerrard coming up in the next couple of minutes. We'll hear from Neil Lennon, Alec Dyer, Stephen Robinson. We'll cut across all the games. The guys will give you their predictions. You can give us your predictions on the weekend matches. Of course, let's not forget in Scottish football, even after 2 games, we've had fans calling for managers' heads. That's the nature of it. Scotland will teach you a lesson over 4 months. We can pick a fight with anyone, believe me. Thanks to Christopher Clark and Michael Clark as well, who say, come on, the Super Sainties. Lots of people just saying hi to us all. Thanks to Una Brennan, who's one of our top fans. She's got her badge back. She's happy about it. Well done. Niall Kane, big Motherwell fan. Stephen Robinson coming up with some very interesting chat as well. And also William Wright. Thanks to William for his comment. I'm not going to read it out, but I can't believe it either, William. That's all I'm going to say to you. Robert Arbuckle as well, who says, why don't you sign Sutton? Well, lots of people don't know this, Roughie, but we gave Sutton his start. We gave Sutton his start in the media.
Yeah. He wasn't very media friendly, and we had him in on numerous occasions and enjoyed what he was doing. And again, he moved on, as we all know. It's amazing, you've got to start somewhere, and then if you move on, we just have to deal with it.
Yep, absolutely. Rangers. They've signed a young boy, Tony Weston. He's a 16-year-old, so it's a classic, what I call one for the future. But as far as Rangers are concerned, it's all roads lead up to Pittodrie. Aberdeen against Rangers is the opening match. Of course, it's constant speculation about Alfredo Morelos. Steven Gerrard says, he's a Rangers player in his mind. It should be on Aberdeen. And we'll come back to that in just a minute. Steven Gerrard obviously talking about Morelos. His mind, I think, will be elsewhere, Tam, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, possibly. Listen, it's the first game of the season. The transfer window's open. Listen, he'll still be out and giving his all for Rangers. He pays wages. But I think maybe in the back of his mind, he'll have a move kind of lined up, and he don't want to get injured or do anything stupid. But listen, as long as Steven Gerrard knows that he's committed to Rangers, I think he'll speak to him before the game. If he's committed and his mind's free, he'll definitely start the game. Defoe's obviously injured, so Morelos has got to play. And he's had a mixed record against Aberdeen. He's had a couple of red cards. He scored remember him scoring a magnificent goal up at Pittodrie with outside his foot. So he'll be looking forward to the game, and Rangers need to get off to a good start, as all the teams do, but Rangers and Celtic in particular need to get off to a good start.
Yeah, the producer in my ear just said there, it's what's known in the business as a glitch. Don't worry about glitches, because quite simply, nothing will ever beat our first broadcast on PLZ Soccer at Easter Road as well, Tam, when Roughie managed to kick everybody off air, including us, and just looked at us. He just looked as if he was innocent as he wondered who had done it with his big clodhopper feet. But nevertheless, glitches apart.
It was about 2 or 3 minutes during the play was still going on, and see if anybody had scored in the 3 minutes, that'd have been the end, honestly.
Yeah,
but we got away with it. We got away with it. See before you move on, Peter, from Morelos. I read again this morning, and I don't know if it's just surely he's now negotiated a deal to go to this club without Rangers agreeing a fee. I read it again this morning that he's done the deal with them himself. He's got his wages sorted out and whatever he's going to do. I can't believe Rangers as a club would allow a player to go and negotiate a deal when nothing's been done.
Well, Roughie, glitches apart, here's your answer from Steven Gerrard.
I think it's an area that we have to be extremely strong in terms of attitude and mentality over the course of the season. For me, it's important to try and control the noise. We have to accept that there's going to be a lot of noise. We understand the importance of the season. But for me, it's the next challenge that's always the vital one, and that's Aberdeen. So that's what everyone's focused on at the moment. We've got another session to prepare for that.
Sorry, that's what we call our second glitch. That really wasn't the one we wanted to hear from Stephen Gerrard. It was, of course, him talking about Alfredo Morelos.
There's nothing to report on him in terms of his situation. He's focused, he's training well, and he's available for tomorrow. In terms of whether he'll start or not, you'll find out tomorrow, 75 minutes before the game. It is in my hands and it is in my control. But in terms of for any of our players, if they end up going out the door, if evaluations are met and we decide collectively that it's the right thing for the football club, we'll always be prepared in any area.
The football club's in control, Roughie.
Yeah, well, we'll soon find out, as he said, tomorrow. If he's not included in that Rangers team tomorrow, we will know he's hacked off by the whole situation. And if he doesn't play him tomorrow, I don't think he'll play him again, because obviously I think he wants things done. He wants him out the door. For me, he's putting up with him now. He knows he'll score goals for him, and sometimes you have to go ahead with that and just let him play. But if he's not on the team line tomorrow, I think that is the end for him.
Well, I just can't comprehend that being the case, Tam, because Rangers right now need a striker who can score goals. There cannot be slip-ups at the start of the season, because the last thing any fan wants is to get all this excitement and then suddenly, thinking it's the same old from last season at the end of it to starting this season. They need to hit the ground running.
I think Morelos will definitely play. I think he'll definitely play if he's fit. He's got to play. Rangers have not got anybody else. Defoe's obviously injured, so they've not got another striker. He's got to play. Rangers can't afford any slip-ups. We all know how big a season this is for both clubs, Celtic and Rangers. And any slip-up's going to be magnified massively. Aberdeen, I looked at Rangers fixtures. By far their hardest fixtures this month is Aberdeen away. The rest of the games you would fully expect them to pick up 3 points, but this is going to be a tough one for them tomorrow. So traditionally always a hard place for them to go. So I think they'll get a result. So it's rough. Somebody didn't hoover.
Honestly,
I can't believe it. You can't make this up.
No, honestly, you know what I'm listening to Tam talking there, and I'm thinking to myself, now, has he bought himself a new ice machine which crunches the ice up on air and then he just drops it into the glass? What are you hoovering while you're on the show?
I'll just sort this out right now.
Right. Okay.
Maggie, could you stop drying your hair? We're on air.
There you are. Do you know, it's unusual, but you two are the only guys on our show, their wives play a major part in it, because Tam's wife makes sure that he's actually on air because she knows what she's doing, and obviously Maggie continues to keep you right, Roughie. But anyway, I agree with you, Tam. Got to play. It's such a big season. I don't think there can be any slip-ups whatsoever. Just on that, we're talking about making signings, and Rangers still linked with a few players that they are potentially going to bring in. But Jordan Jones has been told he can leave Rangers. Now, he's one of a number of players that it just did not work out. It's just been poor recruitment.
Yeah, I have to say, right from that Celtic game, he didn't do himself any justice at all. And obviously he was out injured for a wee while. But I thought Rangers had went on a pre-season trip there and he'd given them another chance, and I remember reading that he was quietly surprised by what he had done on that trip. So obviously he hasn't been coming up with expectations and the level that the manager wants, and it's unfortunate for the boy, because I think we all know that he can cause you damage when he's playing 100%, the pace that he's got. So it'll be interesting. The boy will have just to get his head round it. I'm sure there'll be other clubs, possibly down in England, will be interested in him. But for him, he'll be disappointed he's not come up to the mark at such a big club.
Yeah,
he's got 2 years left in his contract, so I don't think there'll be any rush to leave, to be honest. I think he'll be happy to sit there or go on loan or negotiate something if he's not in the plans. That's how it always works. So 2 years left. I don't think he'll be, as I said, in a rush to leave Ibrox.
Yeah, Tam Wilson says, if any of you three panellists were football managers, would you pay millions for Alfredo? The essence of this, if you have to put yourself in the predicament, Tam, of being a football manager, sometimes needs must. You need somebody who's got goals and scored goals. Obviously, the Scottish Premiership is not at the level of the Big Five, but it's a good standard. It's a competitive standard. It's not quite as high as it was 20 years ago, if I'm being brutally honest with you. But I've said all along, Tam, Alfredo Morelos is worth 10 million. People scoffed and laughed at it. But 10 million, and now Rangers, the word from them is that they are knocking back in excess of that.
Yeah, but listen, he's still I'm trying to say he's still a young boy, but he's not really. A young boy for me, 17, 18. He's 22, 23 years old. He's got to be learning now. He's got to be disciplined and get his head screwed on, because I think he's got something. Listen, in Europe, he's been superb in Europe. I think he was the top goal scorer in the Europa League. He was scoring against big clubs, and that was obviously bringing other clubs to his attention of what he was doing. So I think he's well capable of playing in English Premiership in the bottom half. I look at some of the games down there, your Aston Villas in particular, Sheffield United, teams like that who Sheffield United obviously done well. I think Morelos would play for them. He would definitely play for Aston Villa. So I think Rangers are well within their rights to hold out for 12, 15 million, because I think I do think eventually it could be worth that if he sorts out his temperament.
Roughie?
Temperament's the only thing for me. Temperament is it can be worth all you want him to be worth, but if he's getting sent off and he's indisciplined, and he's throwing tantrums out and all the stuff that goes along, that's a hard one for a manager to get his head round. A manager in a happy club, in a happy environment, he wants people in the dressing room all to be getting on with each other, and that brings it on to a Saturday and you get the results. If you've got one person who's unhappy and he wants to be somewhere else, he's not joining in with the rest of the players, it's not a good environment to be in. And unfortunately for him, he's blotted his copybook 2 or 3 times. And that's the only thing. I don't have anything against him footballing wise. I think he's a top player. He'll score goals wherever he plays. And like Tam, I've been watching the playoffs, Brentford and Fulham, and I've been watching some of the players that they've got down there, and he's much better than any of them. And I think if anybody went to buy any of their players, it would be 10 million plus. So he's in that bracket. I just think if he does mature a wee bit, he will be a much, much better player.
Okay, I would mention to you, and Tam spotted it, there was a loud bang there, which suggests to me that Maggie's dropped the hairdryer. Over and above that, Ruffy's microphone has changed. I don't think it's working the way we normally have it working. So that's another technical hitch on this one. But nevertheless, Aberdeen are going to take on Rangers without Sam Cosgrove, and that is a blow to them for the next 8 to 10 weeks. I think it's going to be longer with his injury. And they've signed Ryan Edmondson from Leeds United on loan, Tam. And of course, let's not forget, Curtis Main is out injured as well. I don't see them getting anything from this tomorrow. And they've signed Johnny Hayes. And other than that, Aberdeen are not doing it for me.
Yeah, I think obviously Cosgrove's a huge miss for them, Peter. He's a talisman, he scores a lot of goals, he leads the line well, he's great at set pieces in either box, he's a huge player for them. Edmondson, had a little look at him, he's only played 2 games for Leeds, he's only 19 years old. Is he ready to come in and start for Aberdeen? I think possibly they'll start him tomorrow. I think they've maybe got Bruce Anderson up there as well. So I think he could possibly start him tomorrow, Edmondson, and it's a big baptism for him to go into a game against Rangers, but Pittodrie, I've been at Pittodrie myself at various clubs. When that's full, when the fans are behind Aberdeen, it's a hard place to go and get a result. I think no supporters in will definitely help Rangers as well. It won't be as intimidating an atmosphere as it usually is up at Pittodrie. So, listen, I would expect Rangers to go up there. They can make no mistakes early and go up there and get 3 points.
Yeah, Gary Adams says any movement on Lewis Ferguson. I don't think Lewis Ferguson will be going to Rangers. That's a stonewall certainty. I think Aberdeen would sell him to an English club before they sell him to Rangers. I think they'll dig their heels in on that one. Anyway, that's Aberdeen Rangers tomorrow. I will show everyone our predictions for the league placings, but on this one, I've got down in my scorecard Aberdeen 1, Rangers 2. Tam, what have you got?
I'm going to go for 2-0 to Rangers. I think Rangers will win 2-0.
Roughie?
Yeah, I think Rangers will be too strong early on in the season. They've got a lot to prove. They've had games under. I'm going to go 2-0 Rangers.
Listen to that. Listen to that microphone, Tam. Honestly, that is mine, isn't it? See what a wee bit of. I've got to cajole him. You think this show just flows with no hassle whatsoever? I've got to cajole him into thinking about things. You know, this is 8 years. I just put wee bits of cheese in the maze, and he follows them. It's fantastic. Brilliant. Anyway, on to the champions, because on Sunday they'll unfurl the flag at Celtic Park with no fans. Should have been 60,000 celebrating the 9th consecutive title and the flag unfurling. But that's not going to happen. It's Celtic against Hamilton. Neil Lennon has been chatting about it. Obviously, he's signed Vasilis Barkas, the goalkeeper. He wants another striker in. He's gone on record as saying that. And he did say about the goalkeeper, for the money he's paid, is he going to be the number one?
Reflexes. I think comfortable coming for crosses, you know, which is what you want from your goalkeeper, certainly in the Scottish game. I think he's, you know, comfortable enough with the ball at his feet. So yeah, a lot of composure, and you know, for 26, he's got good experience as well, and he's a good age.
Does he automatically become your number one? You know, does that go without saying in terms of the money you've shelled out for him? Etc.?
Yes.
Well, he's number one then, Tam.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's got to be. You know, look at the money they've spent. You know, reading a little bit about him as well. Seems to be very, very highly rated in Greece. The Yellow Walls, his nickname, big guy. As Neil said there, it's very important in Scottish football for your goalkeeper to be commanding in the box. You know, because there's a lot of balls get lumped into the box from deep or from wide. You know, coming for crosses. So he can handle that as well. And listen, I think it's always been Celtic's model. We spoke about it before. I think a lot of Celtic fans would have probably rathered Fraser Forster just because Celtic are going for 10 and he's got the experience of Celtic, got the experience of winning trophies at Celtic. But I think Celtic, 26 years old, if he's a couple of good seasons at Celtic, you know, does well in Europe, I think you maybe see a bigger club or maybe a richer club in England coming in for him and taking him, and Celtic get their money back or even more. So I think that was probably one of the main reasons that they've went for him rather than pushing the boat really out for Forster.
And of course, the big question here is, everybody knows that Celtic are going for 10 in a row. Where does the greater pressure lie, according to the Celtic manager?
The hype is something we can't control. I don't think the pressure is as intense maybe as it was on winning 7, 8 and 9, really. You know, when I was at Hibs, you know, you could hear the Celtic fans singing about going for the 10, you know, in the 7th year. And yeah, when I come back in, it was really intense, treble, and then last season getting to the 9. So they've already equalled, you know, that record, and now they can only beat it, you know. So I think it's up to the rest to try and stop us rather than we put ourselves under massive pressure. We have to take it as another season.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. That's going to become the obsession. It's hard to believe it, Roughie. It seems only yesterday we were talking about, you know, Celtic looking at 7 in a row, and now the whole thing has just flown in, and it will become the obsession for some people.
Yeah, I tend not to agree with Lenny there. I think there's going to be pressure on everybody. The demands for the Celtic support as it gets nearer and nearer will be on the players, and the players will have to respond to that. Yeah, it'll be a wee bit easier for them having to deal with 9 in a row and everything that goes that. But when you play with Rangers and Celtic, the pressure's on you every week. I just think it's an additional pressure that you're going to be on the closer it gets. And if it's really close between the two of them, then it is going to be more pressure. And then that's when we'll see the players who stand up and be counted and can get over the hurdle.
Well, we're going to find out very shortly if we've all tipped Hamilton Accies for the drop. Has Roughie done it for the 9th consecutive year, or has he opted for someone else? Listen, they made 4 signings: Charlie Trafford, Callum Smith, Ross Callaghan, and then, of course, the latest signing, Tundu Owolabi, has come in as well from FC Manchester. You know, Chipper's a good lad. He likes to play football the way we all like to see it played. I mean, how do you rate Accies?
Listen, I think though, you know, I worked with Brian Rice at Falkirk. He was assistant manager to John Hughes, and Chipper's always very positive. They always go and try and win the game. Now, Hamilton Accies, I've no doubt, will take a few scalpings this season, because if they're 1 or 2-0 down, Chipper will just go all out attack and they maybe get beat 4 or 5. It happened a couple of times last season. But I think you're in a situation like Hamilton, you know, if you can just pick up a couple of wins here and there, it's definitely the difference between, you know, going down or staying up. So I think he'll be very positive, as always, Brian Rice, and Hamilton always got a great tradition of bringing some young players through. They've got a lot of good academy there, good young boys coming through who'll supplement Brian's squad, and he'll not be scared to play them. He played a few of them towards the tail end of last season in high-pressure games, and they done well for him. So, listen, I've got a lot of time for Brian Rice. I've no doubt that a lot of supporters would like to see Hamilton out of the league, and they keep confounding the critics every year, and they deserved it, because over the course of the season they've been good enough to stay in the league. So will they stay up this season? I don't know, but certainly I think they'll be good to watch, Hamilton.
Yeah, okay. It's lovely the way he's just kept us all teased there until we get to the end for the predictions. Okay, that's some nice and fair comment from you, Tam. We've all been nice in our assessment of Hamiltonakis. So my prediction is they're going to get cuffed 3-0. Roughie, what are you going for?
Yeah, it'll either be very close, or I think it could be 3 or 4. We've already seen Celtic playing some home games. I know I'm going to be interested to see how it affects the players, the no fans, particularly for the bigger clubs, when there's no 50,000 there screaming you on. And again, the ability's on the park. So for me, very tight, or 3 or 4-0. I would tend to go 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, there are some people, obviously, all across the world. John Baird has just followed us from Australia, where Baird is out there living at the moment. And there's lots of people from all over the world. And you can't get punditry like that. You know, that's the line from Roughie there. It's either going to be very close or it's going to be 3 or 4-0. I mean, you can't make that up. That's not scripted. That's straight off the bat there. You know,
it's tremendous fencing
stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, it really is, by the way. I mean, honestly, a skelf right up his backside there. I mean, Roughie. So it's 3-0. So it's not going to be close in Roughie's eyes. What about you, Tam?
I think it would be reasonably close. I think first game of the seasons are always pretty cagey. Listen, Celtic struggled against Hamilton last year. Took them a last minute goal from Scott Brown to beat them at home, which proved a crucial goal in the title race. And away from home, I can remember Hamilton as well, giving them problems. So I think Celtic will win the game, but I think I'll go for 2-0 to Celtic.
Yeah, okay. And by the way, we're only into the 2 predictions so far. I can tell you right now, on Facebook and YouTube, we're all getting leathered. It's fantastic. If you don't back a team or you go against another, that's the great thing about it. It's the opinions of it all. Anyway, from Aberdeen-Rangers and Celtic against Hamiltonakis, there are some really tasty games. And I'm going to look at Dundee United against St Johnstone, because they're the newcomers, Roughie. They've got a couple of signings. Luke Bolton was brought in on loan from Man City, Jack Newman as well. And as far as St Johnstone are concerned, they've just got Craig Conway in a year's deal. That's one of 4 players that Callum Davison has signed. I don't know about you, but I think United are not going to be worrying about relegation this season, Roughie. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they will. I think they'll be bottom 4 for most of the season. I don't think they've strengthened enough. And I've said on numerous occasions on the show, I know they did particularly well last year in the Championship. That was the first and second half of the season. Turn of the season, they didn't do particularly well. They weren't winning the game so easy. So I think the home advantage will be good for them. But I still think that they.
Yeah, just as he was about to say there, Tam, I think this game will be close, but then it could be not close.
It could be 5-0.
Yeah, exactly. What do you see about it, Tam?
It's very hard to predict, to be honest, Peter. I mean, Dundee United have obviously signed a couple. St Johnstone have signed a couple. Mickey Mellon obviously came in at Dundee United, his first experience at the Scottish Premiership. So I think it's important for Dundee United to get off to a good start. I think any team that comes up, I think you've got to get off to a good start. It builds the confidence within the team and the squad and the fans. And if you get off to a poor start, if they lose tomorrow, then there'll be a bit of doom and gloom about the club. But I'm not sure about Dundee United. I think I don't want to go down the Roughie route, but it's very difficult to tell and predict how they're going to do this season. I still think they need a couple of players, particularly at the back. So I think that'll be a score draw tomorrow, if I'm being honest.
Wow, right, okay. Going for a score draw. I'm going Dundee United to win it by 1-0. Now, the Hibbies, interestingly enough, you're going to be there. You're going to be watching the game. Drew Wright, Kevin Nisbet, Alec Gogic at one end. And then, of course, Killie. Killie have made 7 signings. I mean, it's a big change for Killie, Roughie. Just before, Roughie, I asked you about Hibs against Killie. What's your prediction for Dundee United St Johnstone?
I went 1 each in that one. Yep,
one each, okay. So you and Tam both in this one. Don't worry, Tam. One each is a prediction.
He just keeps copying my predictions.
Absolutely. By the way, that's what he does, just in case. By the way, are we, just out of curiosity, are we on for the predictor and the loser buys?
Most definitely. Yeah, most definitely. Yep. 5 points for a correct score, 2 points for getting the score right.
Yeah, okay. That's the exact same thing you've just said there, Roughie. So let me explain it to everybody.
You know what I mean, yeah. You know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but the punters don't know what you mean. 5 points for a correct score and 2 points for a correct prediction of win, lose, or draw. Okay, so with that in mind, Tam, the loser takes the other 2 out for a meal. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, yep. It'll need to be a tenner set meal if I lose.
Listen, calm your jets. You've got the Hibs TV money as well. By the way, you're flying. Anyway, the 7 players, Roughie, that Killie have signed as well. I mean, I could go through them all, but they've got Danny Rogers, the goalkeeper, in, and the other players: Zeno Rossi, Aaron McCann, Mitch Pinnock, and Jake Eastwood. There are lots of players that I don't know that much about. I'm going to be absolutely honest with you. I haven't seen them play, so it's an unknown quantity that's coming into Alec Dyer's side. And he still says he just wants to survive.
Yeah, that was the clue for me. You know, that makes me believe that I don't think he thinks he's got the quality to be challenging up there in the top 6. I think it's going to be a struggle for Kilmarnock this year. I think they're just going to be outside the top 6, possibly bottom 4. Because, as you say, these players that he's brought in mean nothing to me, but that's not to say they're going to be very good. So, no, I'm going to go for Hibs at the weekend. I'm going to go for Hibs to win 3-0.
Oh, there you are. That is a convincing prediction there, Roughie. And again, Tam is looking there as if to say, and Tam's only been with us 1 season, Roughie. He's not aware of the fact that for 8 seasons, even if Hibs were playing Real Madrid, you'd predict Hibs to win 3-0. So Tam, he's only ever gone against Hibs in 2 matches, and the 2 matches are against Partick Thistle or against Celtic. So you know where he's going. Tam,
well, let's see Hibs TV's
fund it, yeah. Tom, Tom.
I think Hibs will win. I think Hibs are looking very strong, midfield to front. You know, I was in over at Easter Road and I was having a little look through the squad and stuff, and he's got plenty of options from midfield to front. Christian Doidge has been missing for a lot of pre-season, so the word is that he possibly might not start, and they might play Nisbet and Boyle up front in a 2. You know, that's not definite, but I think that's the way Jack will go, to try and use Boyle's pace in behind. And in the middle of the park, Gogic I think will be a great signing for Hibs. I think he's a Marvin Bartley type, enforcer in there who'll put his foot in and keep the ball moving. I think Hibs have missed it for a number of years, and that'll free up Scott Allen to go and cause damage at the other end. So Hibs have got plenty of quality, plenty of flair in the final third, and I just think that will be a difference. I think they'll break Kilmarnock down and they'll win the game 2-0.
Yep, okay, I've gone 2-0 to the Hibbies as well. Sorry to the Killie fans who are listening. Listen, if anything, Alec Dyer as well. I watched them on more than a few occasions towards the tail end of last season. They certainly can surprise us. There was a wee feeling of uncertainty about Alec, and then he just got his teeth into the team and the players started to respond. So we'll wait and we'll see how Killie will develop. It's just an opinion at the moment. You can give us your opinion on that. If you are joining us on the Football Show, don't forget Monday to Friday, we are on live on Facebook and YouTube at 4 o'clock. Join us, like, share and follow on our Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. There are some terrific things coming up and some great prizes we're going to be giving away. And of course, few signings to come. Keep your eyes and your ears peeled to PLZ Soccer's football show. Roughie, as you can see, looking forward to the season. Tam McManus as well. And the one great thing you will see over the course of the season is a great array of different fashion, because Roughie is obviously going to try and look for a new fashion consultant to see which way he's going to dress this season. So we'll wait and see that. Anyway, next one up is
Peter. He's got his favourite top on the day, isn't he? That's his
he's got
favourite.
his
That wee All Saints one. He loves that one.
That wee All Saints number.
You wore that last night, I know.
Yeah, I maybe try and go for another colour this year.
Oh, what a different All Saints colour. That's fantastic, Roughie. I'd avoid yellow. I don't think yellow's a good colour for it. Don't think yellow's a good colour. Do you know what he did one day, Tam? He buys a batch of about 9 Ralph Lauren shirts, and he just wears them. And he came in one day and he says, "Here, do you want this one?" Because it was clearly yellow and it just didn't suit him. So he thought, "I'll give it to me to see if I can look like Big Bird from Sesame Street." So he gave it to me. Anyway, apart from anything else, looking forward to seeing what your club is going to be like this season, Roughie. Hibs 2, Killie 0 is Tam's 3-0, says Roughie 2-0. What do you think? Are you a Hibs fan out there heartened by what Tam had to say? Just out of curiosity, Tam, Josh Doig, will he be an emerging feature this year?
Yeah, I think he will be. I think Lewis Stevenson's obviously your number one fullback at Hibs. He's a club legend. He's been there for years, but Lewis is not getting any younger. And young Doig has been excellent in pre-season by all accounts. You know, I watched him against Celtic. Obviously scored the goal, which was great for him and great for his confidence. But he didn't look out of place. He was up against Dembele, who's a very good young player, and he done well against him. So I think he could potentially start tomorrow as well. You know, Hibs have got a few young Jamie Gullen as well. So there is some good young talent coming through at Hibs, and Hibs have always been a club who've produced young players, and I think it's been slow in the last few years, to be honest. I think Ryan Porteous maybe is the only one who's really come through and established himself. So Hibs need to try and get back to bringing through their own young players, because the supporters love it. Nothing more than seeing a young player coming through and getting into the team.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, St Mirren against Livingston. I am enthused at the moment. It might not really have any great foundation once the season gets up and away, but I like Jim Goodwin. I like what he does, like the way he wants his team to play football. He's made more than a few signings. Marcus Fraser, Richard Tate. He's also got Joe Shaughnessy, Isaac Thorvaldsen as well, and I don't know, Norton Sharon as well. I think he's made some good signings, Tam.
Yep, I think St Mirren will have a good. You'll see my prediction shortly. I've got St Mirren down to have a really good season. I think they've made some good signings. As you've just mentioned, some of the guys, they're certainly looking very solid at the back. They always have been under Jim Goodwin. The problem with St Mirren has been finding a goal scorer. You know, I know Abika's popped up with the goals now and again, but I mean, if St Mirren could just find, listen, every club's looking for them, a 15 to 20 goal a season striker, then you would really have fancy them to get into that top six, because, as I said, I agree with you, Jim Goodwin's done really well at St Mirren. They're all organised, they're hard to break down, but just at the other end, will they score a lot? Will they score enough goals? Because, you know, last season they were very tight at the back, but they didn't score a lot. So if Jim can unearth something in that final third, then I think they'll have a good season.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, as far as Livingston are concerned, Roughie, they've got 7 signings, 7 of them. I don't know. I think they might be in the bottom half this season, even though Gary Holt was in the running for Manager of the Year. I've got a sneaky feeling they might be in the bottom half. What about you?
Yeah, I thought Lawless will be a big miss for them. I think Stephen was a very good player for them, coming up with goals and assists. You know, I think he'll be a miss. We all know that Livingston are going to be difficult at home, but away from home, they don't seem to show the same, you know, determination and effort that they do when they're playing at home. So St Mirren, for me, I think they'll have a better season what they had last year, because for a wee while there, we thought they were going to be the Hearts. And if it hadn't been for that latter game, St Mirren versus Hearts, they would have been a Hearts. You know, they would have been in the Championship, you know, if they hadn't won that game 1-0 before everything tied up. And I all through the time at the end of the season, I kept saying, no, they're going to get it, they're going to get it. I was impressed with the way they were playing. they just couldn't get the goals to win the games, as Tam was said. So if they come up with somebody like that, you know, I think they could steer away. What they want to do is steer away from bottom 4, because it's not a healthy position being bottom 2, bottom 3 for the whole season. The pressure that brings isn't comfortable as a player. So I think they will squeeze out of that bottom 3 this year.
Yeah. Francie Dub LU is on Facebook. He says the Buddies 2, Livingston 1 is his prediction. And Francie, I am in complete agreement with you. I think St Mirren will win it 2-1. Tam?
I think St Mirren will win the game. I'll go for 1-0 St Mirren. I think, as I said to you, they've not got a lot of goals in them, but they're relatively tight at the back, and Livingston are not good travellers. Livingston will be heavily reliant on their home form again this season, but I'm going to go St Mirren 1-0.
Yeah, Roughie?
Yeah, I was going to go 1-0, but I'm going to go 2-1, because you're generally the person who sets the tone for the beginning of the season, so I don't want you to get too far away, so I'm going to go 2-1.
That is outrageous. That is outrageous. Now, that's the way he plays it, Tam. If you don't get him to write them down on a piece of paper and hand it in early, that's what he does. He tries to play this, you know, let's play the odds
Very
game
cunning.
here, and spread betting with him is unbelievable. So on that basis, all I would say to you is we're writing all these down, and then we'll get the points at the end of the weekend. And I always feel that first week. Always feel that first weekend. Sometimes you look at teams and they're going to take a few weeks to bed in. Let's not forget, I wonder if you agree with this, Tam. Will it be a situation where they need a wee bit of time to get up to speed to the way they're going to play? Because we were all highly critical of the English Premier League coming back and how dull it was early on.
Yeah, I think. Listen, Peter, I don't think there'll be a lot of goals tomorrow. I think there'll be tight games all over. Because, as you said, it takes players, you know, I think 3 or 4 games to really get it sharp, particularly in the forward areas. You know, myself as a striker, I always felt as if I needed a few games at the start of the season before I really hit my top form and felt 100% sharp. And I think that'll be the same tomorrow and for the weeks to come. But listen, we're hoping that there's good quality on show. There's definitely a lot of good quality within the teams, but I don't think they're going to see goal fests until a couple of weeks' time, maybe.
Yeah, it's a good point you make, Tam. I always remember working at the games through at Easter Road, and I thought to myself, yep, once it gets to mid-November, I feel McManus will really come into his own. So I think you're absolutely right. It will take that wee bit of time. Edward Friel says Livingston 2-1, 2-1 for them. And John Kelly says, There's Roughie copying again. There's Roughie copying everybody again. Listen, and Lee Gallagher says 2-1 to Livingston, I think. Lee, thank you for giving us your opinion. Lots of people. And Stuart Ramsey says, did Tam just say he'd hit top form? You see, there are hippies. There are hippies.
Relatively speaking.
Great. Yeah, absolutely. You're a good man at Hibs, Tam. Now, lots of people messaging us. Thank you very much to everyone for joining us on Facebook and YouTube as well. Next week, we'll be giving you details of some great prizes that we've got on offer for the new season. You can get involved in that too. Now, for the last game, which is on the Monday, Ross County against Motherwell. Motherwell, I've already stated on this programme, Roughie, I think they're going to finish third. I'm looking at the players that they've signed. He's happy. He's got Jake Hasty back there, Mark Kahara, Callum Lang, also Ricky Lamy, who's a good lad. I know Ricky. And he's got Jordan White and Nathan McGinley, Scott Fox. I'm heartened by what I've seen there. I just get a feeling that Motherwell could finish third. What about you, Roughie? What do you make of them?
Well, that is the big question. Can they maintain the form they had last year? They were absolutely superb last year. A joy to watch. I just think this year Aberdeen and Hibs will get their act together and make it more difficult for them to be third. I can't see them reaching third this year because they were outstanding last year. I can't see them getting that level of performance. So, no, I've not got them at third. I've got Aberdeen and Hibs to just pip them to that one. But I do think at the weekend they will beat Ross County because I think Ross County definitely haven't strengthened. They've let an awful lot go as they usually do. So I'm going to go for a Motherwell win. I'm going to go Motherwell to win 1-0.
1-0, which is good. Now we've got that on record out of the way. I've gone for Ross County to lose 2-1. So Motherwell to win by 2-1. And just on the basis of the signings that I've mentioned there, Stephen Robinson, speaking to the assembled members of the press today, mentioned that he's happy with the squad he's got. He's just worried that with this transfer window still open all the way through to October, some of the English clubs might try and cherry pick his stars.
The worry for me is the transfer window is open now until October. So with England sort of shutting down for a little while, there's always the fear that the English teams come in afterwards after having watched games early on. So we're prepared for that. But what I think I've strengthened is in lots of areas. We've whatever midfield I put out, but I believe will be a really, really strong midfield, which gives me a headache in itself, but a good headache. So we're prepared for things, probably more so people leaving the football club rather than bringing anybody else in.
Yeah, there's the new way to interview managers, sitting quite a distance away from them. And Stephen Robinson there showing his social distancing qualities. But he did mention there, cherry picking, Tam, could be a problem for Motherwell, especially when you look at some of the players that they have.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Motherwell have really strengthened their squad. I'm excited to see how they get on. Obviously, Jake Hastie coming back, Turnbull coming back from injury. You might see if Turnbull gets in the team and starts well, you might see him departing. He's obviously very, very close and unlucky for the boy not to go to Celtic. But I think Celtic will still be keeping tabs on David Turnbull. They were very close to signing him just because obviously the boy unluckily had a problem with his knee. But they'll still be keeping tabs on him. Tony Watt's there as well, who's a good player. And as you said, they've got so much competition in the middle of the park, and I've always liked Alan Campbell. It's interesting that there's never been many clubs linked to him in the papers. You get a lot of in the press or social media. A lot of players getting linked. Alan Campbell's never really been linked with anybody, and I think he's a tremendous young player. So if they can keep hold of him, if they can keep hold of Alan Campbell, and I think Motherwell have got plenty of competition. Jordan White, I forgot about him as well. They signed from Inverness, so. Plenty going forward. Can they keep it tight enough at the back? Because I think they've got goals in them, Motherwell.
Andrew Robertson has posted his message on Facebook. Obviously, I think Motherwell are going to finish third. Andrew Robertson says, Peter, you are wrong. It's not Motherwell that will finish third. Celtic will finish third. So a bold statement there from Andrew. And it's all about opinions, Andrew. And let me tell you right now, if Celtic do finish third, Andrew...
Peter,
what?
Is Barry Ferguson back? Is Barry Ferguson back on Facebook? Exactly. The ghost is back from the dead.
Under a pseudonym,
yep.
Celtic will finish third. So all I would say with regards to Andrew Robertson is, Andrew, I can tell you right now, if Celtic finish third in the league, Roughie, I think it's fair to say me, you and Tam are taking Andrew and his best mate out for an all expenses paid meal. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's a fair shout. Ask him, is he going to put up with it? Is he going to take us out if he loses?
That's a very good point, Roughie. Andrew, over to you. Will you take us out if Celtic don't finish third? It's as simple as that. And Kyle McClellan says Celtic won't finish third. Don't be silly. They'll finish 12th. So that's the nature of it. And listen, that's the great thing about it. The banter, people getting leathered, that's what we like. As long as it's not abusive. We love the fact that you've got your opinions on this. And Gary Adams says if Celtic finish third, PLZ will go off the air. No, I think, to be perfectly honest with you, Gary, we'll be thinking to ourselves, where are we going to take Andrew out for a meal? Anyway, apart from anything else, I've gone for Motherwell 2-1. Tam, did you mention who you thought was going to win that match? Sorry if you did.
I'm going to go 2-1 to Motherwell.
Yeah, 2-1. Okay. Right, we've given all the predictions, and now that moment when so many people, and here's a good one. William Wrights just said, Peter, if Celtic finish third, I will fly you guys over to Vancouver Island for beers. No, I don't know. Come on, you. Come on, listen. I don't know about you, Tam, but because we haven't been on holiday for ages, is it worth going to Vancouver for beers? Roughie, we're now in a real dilemma. I don't know. Do we say hi, book us on a flight, William, or not?
No, I think we'll have to put that in the back burner. Unfortunately, it sounds good, but I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, send us a photograph of Vancouver, William, to be honest with you. Because here's the predictions. Here's my 1 to 12, guys, of how I think it's going to go. I think Celtic will win the league. I think Rangers will finish second. Motherwell for me third. Aberdeen fourth. Hibs fifth. Dundee United in sixth. St Mirren in seventh. Killie, Livingston, St Johnstone, Hamilton Accies going into a playoff, which they will win and stay in the league, and Ross County to go down. Roughie, what do you make of that?
Yeah, I'm just different from you, obviously, with the Motherwell and the Hibs and Aberdeen situation. I just think Aberdeen and Hibs will get their act together this year. I'm going to go for Celtic to win the league. I don't think Rangers up front, if he leaves, it's a big pressure of whoever comes in to score the 25, 30 goals that they need. So I'm going to go Rangers to be second, Aberdeen to be third, Hibs to be fourth, as I said, Motherwell to be fifth. I just think Livingston, with the home form that they've got, teams find it very difficult going there. So I'm going to stick them in there at the top six. I don't think St Johnstone that have convinced me at all. So they're going to be outside the six. Killie as well. I think the bottom six are all going to be sort of a similar. I'm going to go St Mirren to improve from last year and get away from that bottom three. As like Hamilton, I think Hamilton have proved when they're down there, they have the knack of getting themselves out of it. Dundee United, for me, haven't strengthened enough. And for me, Ross County, I think Ross County will be in the relegation position for most of the season, and I think they will go down.
Yeah, is the Dundee United situation, if they go into a playoff, Roughie, just yes or no, if they go into a playoff, are they relegated? Do they lose the playoff?
Well, to go into the playoff position, you never asked me the other day. I think Hearts will win that championship, but I think a surprise package is going to be Dunfermline. I think Dunfermline, although they let 17 players go, I think that some of the players that they brought in, the Whitakers, have been really impressive. So I think Dunfermline will be who Dundee United would play in that playoff. And again, we never know how that's going to go.
Yeah, but you think they'll be in a playoff anyway. Are you in any way, have you managed to shake off the anger, the disappointment, the
No.
real... No.
Still
No,
lingering.
Dundee United,
Still lingering.
I never ever had a problem with Dundee United. They were there in merit. It's unfortunate they get brought into that case. The footballing side, no, they are not. Don't ask me about Ross County, but they're going down.
They're going down, okay.
Yeah.
Tam, give us your 1 to 12.
Well, mine's is of what a picture that is. Mine's is obviously Celtic to win the league. Rangers, I think Hibs will finish third. I think they've really strengthened their squad. I know they've lost 8 players, but they've brought 3 real quality players in. Aberdeen fourth, Motherwell, and probably surprised a lot of people seeing that would be St Mirren in the top 6. And I spoke about it earlier. I just think that he's building a good squad there. He's very, very solid, very rigid at the back. They just need to try and find somebody to score a goal or two for them, St Mirren. I think they'll do really well this season. Dundee United, I think, will be comfortable. I don't think there'll be any problem with them at the bottom. Kilmarnock, St Johnstone. I think Livingston will struggle this season. I think they've a lot of pressure on them to win at home, because they were pretty poor away from home last season. So I think teams will start to maybe pick up the odd result at Livingston's pitch, get used to that surface. Ross County, 11th, and Hamilton Accies, unfortunately. I think they'll go down this season, but I think that's very interchangeable. Those bottom 2 spots, I think, will be tight all season between Hamilton and Ross County.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes it's getting somebody. If you get sometimes when you're in the bottom clubs, if you can get somebody who's a goal scorer, Roughie, I always feel as if it gives you that chance, because the bottom end are going to leak goals. But you just need somebody to somehow get you back into games, nick a point here and there. It can make all the difference. Yeah. That's why I was torn between Dundee United and St Mirren. I'm like Tam, I share his view on St Mirren. Just need to find goals from somewhere on a regular basis from someone.
Yeah, well, they did find the big boy at the end of the season. He was coming up the odd goal or two that was winning games. And it was the same with Hamilton. You know, they were losing some horrendous goals at the back. You know, I mean, it was just comedy cut stuff. But then when they come up against the teams that were down at their own bit of the basement, they started scoring goals, and that's what got them out. So you're right. You know, every team, doesn't matter where you are, needs a striker, and all levels of how much they'll score would take you out of where you are.
Yeah, I think Paul Haldane says, why are the pundits underestimating Livingston? Well, of course, listen, we can all change our mind because of signings that come in and the way you see a team play. We're just giving you a guess, and it is a guess, that we'll stick with for the rest of the season. And we will be ridiculing each other, believe me, all the way through this season. But we've given you our predictions of the scores, and we'll certainly stand by our 1 to 12. The one thing that clouded me on Livingston, and I'm with you on this, Tam, is I think they might lose Dykes. And then I think, you know, suddenly you're saying to yourself, that might change the way they play. Are they going to get somebody who'll be able to come in and score goals? If they keep a hold of him, who knows?
Yep, I think that Lyndon Dykes is obviously huge for Livingston. But I don't think he'll be there, Peter. I think the boy himself will be wanting to move on. He strike with the irons hot. He's done really well last season. He's been linked with both sets of the old firm, linked with some big clubs down south. I think Livingston will try and get a couple of £1 million for him if they can. And if they can get that, that's huge money for Livingston. You know, that's massive, massive money. And the boy deserves a chance. You know, you're talking about international level, Australia and Scotland. I think if he can go get himself to a bigger club, no disrespect to Livingston, has been brilliant for him. If he can go and get himself to a bigger club either here or down south, then all of a sudden he can get into the international setup as well. And I think that'll be on his mind also. So I think Livingston, if they keep him, will have no problem. But I think they'll lose him, and I think they'll struggle after.
Yeah, James Thompson says, guys, you have to remember the transfer window is open until October for clubs to strengthen their sides. James, you're 100% correct. I bow to your line because we've said that. We're just giving you our predictions from the start of the season. Bit of fun based on what they've signed so far and the strengths of the depth of squads. It's all guesswork. A big hi to Stuart Callahan. I don't know if you remember Cal. He played for Hearts. Good pal of mine. You might have played against him, Tam, down through the years. Big Jambo.
Yes, I do remember. Yep.
Yeah, remember Cal? Good lad. Yep. Good to have him on the show. Danny McNeil joins us as well. Thanks to so many people who are regulars joining us. The figures for the show have been fantastic before lockdown and, of course, in lockdown as well. The guests we've had on, and we are going to feature heavily a lot of guests for you to enjoy over the course of the season. So we're certainly looking forward to bringing you interviews, one-to-ones, managers, players, talking about the games. We'll be at the games. We'll be watching them. Of course, when Hibs eventually drop into the playoff position, Tam will somehow try to squirm him out of giving any predictions for the Hibbies since he's working on Hibs TV. We're just waiting to see if you become a flag waver. I am going to leather you every week on the show.
I'm not a flag waver. You know what? I'm not a flag waver, Peter.
I know you're not. Anyway, apart from that, as well as that, I have to say to you, thanks to the thousands of people on Facebook who've joined us. The figures are magnificent watching the show. Like, share and follow us on Facebook. If you are on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. We'd love you to do that and join the football family. It's getting bigger and better every year. Looking forward to it, Roughie, yet again. You are looking as if you've had a good pre-season, Roughie. You're looking bronzed, ready, haircut, and wearing the best of gear. I think this could be your best year. I know you were on Real Radio as well, Roughie, which was really poor, to be honest. We used to absolutely batter you on that, but whatever happened to that other guy? You and Roughie. Yeah, well, there he is. Whatever happened to that other guy? Anyway, Roughie, you're looking forward to the season, aren't you?
Yeah, it's fantastic. You know, I think we all got a buzz, and I feel sorry for all the supporters out there who can't get into the games because we know so many people out there just love their club and they love going along there and dealing with the highs and lows and going for a pint afterwards and going to work on a Monday and having a bit of banter. So feel sorry for them, but enjoy everything that's on the television and hope you have a good weekend.
Yeah, and of course the signing, I can't tell you, Tam, the signings that we're going to make are obviously to try and bring out the best in you as well, because of course the other thing is we love Barry, he's our pal, we enjoyed a bit of banter with him and we enjoyed leathering him from time to time, because the one thing we will miss this year of all years, Tam, is he would come in as high as a kite when Rangers hit the top of the table, and then he just slowly but surely went downhill. And I think his new job, bearing in mind our predictions, he's going to be going downhill about January, February.
Yeah, listen, Barry was brilliant. We're obviously going to miss him. And I've actually paid tribute to him today. I've actually went into the cupboard and pulled out the staunchest top that I could find in the cupboard to pay tribute to Barry.
Yeah. Oh, that's
right. So
that's about as staunch as it gets.
Yeah, we wish him all the best. But as the show goes on, and PLZ will be looking to strengthen. When does the PLZ window shut, Peter? For you to get somebody in, is that ongoing?
The PLZ window will shut in the next 2 weeks, and then wait till you see what we've got planned. Not only the prizes for everybody who joins
Hopefully
the
it's not a
football
striker.
family and watches the programme. Yes, I was just about to say to you, that's the last thing you need, by the way. You need another midfielder. We've got a fair bit of quality. I did wear my red, white and blue Maestro top as well, by the way. You know, for any badge kissers out there as well, Tam. We don't want any badge kissers on the show either, do we? Apart from anything else, great to have your company. Bigger, better as ever. Every season, Roughie and I have been on here building this show. We've got a big following of football fanatics. Join the football family, like, share and follow, and also, if you can, subscribe to our YouTube channel. The one word I'll leave you with, if you're going out to the football this weekend, apparently you can go into pubs, Roughie. Apparently you can go into pubs. Pubs will have to show some social distancing here safely into a pub. That's what we want. We want people to, yes, enjoy their mate, socially distance, follow the rules. Please try and give this country a chance not to get a major second wave, Roughie.
Yeah, but I think it's really important that the responsibility everybody's got, because I think everybody remembers where we've been in the last 3 months, and we don't want to go back there again. We want to have a good football season. We want everybody to enjoy themselves and keep healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. On that note, to each and every one of you, follow the rules, follow your team all the way through the season, and follow us here and join the football family. From Tam McManus, Alan Rough, and myself, Peter Martin, enjoy your weekend. Scottish football is back.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.